Okay, shall I start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. A very good morning, Toastmasters and dear guests. Today is the 882nd meeting of Smedley Speaker Society, and I welcome you all to this fine Sunday morning. Building bridges. That is something I feel all of us are doing in any way that we can in our lives. We build bridges with our family, our friends, our colleagues, and anyone we run into in our lives. These connections are what make everyone's lives more interesting and fun. So, having this in mind, let's start today's meeting. But before that, I would like to lay down a couple of ground rules that we always share at the start of the meeting. Firstly, please keep your phones on silent mode so that it doesn't disturb anybody. Also, keep yourself on mute unless you're speaking. Ensure that there is no background interruptions, and if there is so, then please turn off your video at that point of time. Also, try to avoid speaking on sex, religion, or politics. However, it is not prohibited. Please be mindful of everyone's sentiments if you choose to speak on them. I would next like to call on someone really special and important to our club. He has donned many roles, taken on many challenges in our club, and we see those changes happening every day in the club as well. He is a chartered accountant by profession and our current president of Smedley Speaker Society. I think most of you know who I'm talking about. So please put your hands together for Smedley Speaker Society's president, Mukund Joshi.
Thank you, Ankita, for that wonderful introduction. Good morning, Smedlians. I hope this weekend is treating you very well and you're in your high spirits as usual. Martin Luther King Jr. said, build bridges, not walls. I think that is exactly what we Toastmasters inadvertently do through words. Toastmasters is a wonderful platform in a way to build bridges. Toastmasters opens the doors of collaboration to our fellow Toastmasters by voicing out our thoughts. Apart from building bridges amongst our own selves in the club, we build bridges with the Toastmasters fraternity as well. For example, we have Linkers meeting where we build bridges with other clubs. Many members take larger roles at the area level or district level, which facilitates building bridges between clubs and districts. But having said all this, building bridges doesn't necessarily mean that you should build something where something has been destroyed, if you know what I mean. You can build bridges even if there is nothing negative happening. But just a word of caution, while building bridges, we shouldn't let our own idiosyncrasies, ego, or controlling attitude to become a wall in place of the bridge. Friends, to build a bridge, one needs a large heart, a broad mind, and a collaborative mindset. With that small take on the theme, I would now like to introduce some of our guests. So the first guest I see on my screen is Sanskar. Hi Sanskar, would you like to unmute yourself and give a brief introduction about yourself?
Uh,
And if
good,
possible, tell us your take on the theme.
uh, Good morning, everyone. I'm Sanskar. I'm a student currently pursuing my third year in BBA, and I'm here to give a speech for my external project for my pathway. Uh, I'm an athlete. I focus on fitness. I cook, and I also like finance and working on things and skills that I can develop on the side. I do graphic designing. I learn how to code and things like that. And about today's theme, I think Toastmasters as a whole focuses on how important it is to build bridges with us being external speakers in your club today in the Smedley Speaker Society, or whenever we have our contests, our ICE International Speech Contest, the evaluation contest, it's a link between different clubs and different speakers coming together, different evaluators coming together. And that is why I think that the team works really well in terms of today's meet. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanskar. Athlete and now improving your speaking skills. I guess brains and bronze in one body. Yeah, that's Sanskar. Okay. All right. We go to our next guest, which is Vardhan. Vardhan Gupta. Would you like to unmute yourself and let us know about yourself a little bit and also your take on the theme, if possible?
So first of all, hello everyone. How's everyone doing? So I've been
Great.
listening. I've been hearing about this club a lot. Everyone who goes to external speeches, like pretty me and Sanskar, we are from the same college. We are also coming here to Smedley's, and everyone else also who used to go external, they used to say Smedley is a great club. You should always go for external for this to Smedley. So I would like to thank you all for having me here. So apart from that, about myself, again, even I am pursuing BBA with specialization in finance right now in my third year in Jain University as well. And some of my interests include football, Formula One, watching a lot of TV shows. I've been recently starting to get more into developing or upskilling myself, which could also be linked to the theme, which is building bridges. So I'm trying to lead myself to a path which I don't know where it goes, certainly, but the bridge will at least help me go somewhere in life. Try to, upskill myself, try to learn Excel better, try to get more advanced in excelling, try to learn more about making music, about trying to do graphic designing. There's a lot of different things which I'm trying to do at the moment, and it's bridges which are being constructed the way how Bangalore constructs its around the traffic. So it's unfortunately a mess right now, but I hope I find a way along the way. So that's the beauty of it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Vardhan. Did you say you are improving your skills in Excel?
Yeah, so I've taken up a course. So it's very basic because I just figured out that Excel is very hard. And what I knew about Excel is actually compared to like not knowing anything in Excel. So I was like, if I have to go into jobs further, I have to know Excel. So yeah.
Uh, Please don't feel offended when I say this. I'm one of those guys who is waiting to get Excel eradicated from the face of this planet. But that's for a different day altogether. All right. Okay. Now we go on to our next guest, Rohan. Rohan, would you like to unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about about the theme?
Hello everyone, my name is Rohan. I've already been to this club as a speaker, and as Vardhan mentioned, I was one of those people who said you must at least once go to Smedley. A brilliant club, the way they evaluate and the way they, conduct themselves is really brilliant, which we will see today. My take on the theme, I think whatever has to be said has already been said. We are here to build bridges, and building connections is something really important to everyone. But something that they missed out on is what the president mentioned, that we should not let our arrogance or controlling attitude take over. Even while building bridges, regardless of who they are and how they may be, the attitude we show, being very down to earth, being humble, is really important. And that's something that's my takeaway from this meeting today. And I am here as part of Toastmaster Sanskar's project, and I will be the one interviewing him. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohan. Welcome to Smedley's. Okay, last but not the least, we have a person who has visited our club many times till now, and I would request her to unmute herself, if possible, come on the video and give a brief introduction about herself. And that is Devika Nagraj. Devika?
Um, Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is Devika. I'm studying BCom in SSMRV College. I have come here to improve the communication skills. Thank you.
No problem, Devika. Welcome to Smedley's. Now, let's hear a big round of applause to all our guests who introduced themselves. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we take this meeting forward, okay? And to do that exactly, we have someone, okay, who according to me has the right mindset to build bridges. When I looked her up on LinkedIn, I realized that she has worked in 4 different industries. You know, insurance industry, the airline industry, the beauty care industry, and finally the education industry. Now, only a person who has the mindset to build bridges has the ability to collaborate with people who are from such diverse industries. When I asked her what is her take on today's theme, her take is really profound. And she said, and I quote, building bridges is a very powerful concept, which is imperative to foster understanding and nurture relationships. I wish there was a world with no border, no wall or barrier, where people can be free to travel, connect and explore. I can only wish for such an ideal world and imagine how life would be in that free world. So very profound take on building bridges. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today's Toastmaster of the day, who is none other than Vitasta Bhaumik.
Thank you, President Mukund, for such a profound introduction. I am joining a Toastmaster meeting after a long break, and I can still get the refreshing vibe early morning with the energizing people, energizing guests and members, and a nurturing environment where I can learn and get something positive out of this meeting. Thank you. I would also like to share that you took my introduction, how I was going to start the meeting. Then I realized if it comes to Toastmasters and building bridges, or if it comes to the theme of building bridges, Toastmaster is something that will come in our mind at first. Because Toastmasters from 1924 by our founder, Ralph C. Smedley, have been doing that, have been breaking all the shackles of barriers and build bridges. And now it is available in 144 countries, almost 3 lakh members and 14,000 clubs, if I am not wrong. So what a diverse club it has been from so many years. And everywhere you go, you will see the same value and culture. The motto is for people to learn. They will provide a welcoming environment. People will collaborate and connect. And at the end of the day, you will take away something positive. It's never a win-lose in Toastmasters. It is always a win-win. And it has helped so many people to work on their confidence and grow. Recently, as I said, that I have joined a meeting after a break. It was because I went on a tour to Himachal Pradesh in Spiti Valley. So I would like to share one experience that, I wouldn't say experience, but a beautiful story that I've heard there. The gateway to Spiti Valley is Sangla Valley, and Sangla is in the Kinnaur district of Himachal Pradesh. I don't know how many of you have been to Sangla Valley. Anybody can raise your hand? Okay. So Sangla Valley is one of the most beautiful places that I have been so far. It is dotted with majestic Himalayas and lush green valleys. The night skies are something to wonder. And the most beautiful thing about the valley is both Hinduism and Buddhism thrive together. That is a sight to behold. One experience that I have heard from people is the Holi of Sangla, the Holi celebration in Sangla Valley. Now it is a 4-day celebration and the entire Sangla community come together to celebrate. They also celebrate it with all the tourists. So if you ever get a chance to visit the Sangla Valley during Holi, you would see it's crowded with many tourists and everybody together, unified as a one, celebrate the 4-day festival. The day before the festival, they start distributing a local alcohol called, I do not remember the local name, it's Falusi or something like that. And on the day of the festival, they start playing with dry colors. Doesn't matter if tourists or people do not have the holy attire, they will be distributing t-shirts, they will be playing music across the entire village. There's a Shiva temple where they perform Ramayana, the men dressed as the characters of Ramayana. They also start with local folk songs and dance, and you get to be a part. You would feel that you are one of them. So this is one of the most beautiful thing that I have heard in these days, because to be honest, in this century, in this era, I do not hear anybody to be so welcoming and giving us such warm welcome to people outside. So that is something, a very good and positive takeaway for me. I would also like to know from our members if you have come across any such experience, inspiring experience where people have broken the walls and built bridges to build connection. Can any one of you share your experience? Shiva.
So this was one of my trip to Kerala. So while I was traveling to Kerala in Munnar, I came across these Malayali people while I was trying to communicate to the locals just to understand where all the things like in the market, local market. So I did not know Malayalam, to be honest. But I know Tamil in bits and pieces. But the people in Kerala are aware of Tamil, in fact, and they started responding to me in Tamil itself. So here I am a person who does not know Malayalam, and then there is a person who does not know my language, which is Hindi. And the common language for us at that point of time was not English or not some other language, but it was Tamil. So Tamil played as a building bridges for us at that point of time. And trust me, I have seen these people from Kerala, even while they are talking in Tamil, they feel like they're talking their own language. They never meant like they're feeling talking some other alien language. So that was one best moment for me. Over to you.
That's beautiful, Shiva. This reminded me of one lesson that I have learned during my aviation days. We were told that we should always mirror the language. So if I'm speaking in English and somebody else is unable to say, and maybe they're saying in Hindi or any other mother tongue, if we are aware of it, we should always respond to that to make that person feel welcome and encourage that person to speak and open. So that's really beautiful. Anybody else would like to share any other experience? Francis, Ankita, the guests, Rohan, Devika.
Yeah, Dilip here. I can share some.
Yes, please, Dilip.
So, if you all might have seen the film Kantara, so similar to that ritual, I have my ancestral home. We have a yearly ritual similar to that, and though we are like Hindu and we have our deities actually getting or displayed in a ritual, an annual ritual. So halfway through that ritual, the deity himself become a Muslim. So that is a very unique thing. I was only there, and this actually have to like embrace the whole community around, so that there is they're showing no difference between whatever they think as God or whatever they consider, and they're ready to accept or embrace that culture or the people as they are, and putting them into the deity level. That was something literally amazing. I really see to amazed that even current situations what we see, and that was being acceptance. And when you say collaboration, I feel I mean that reminds me that acceptance we should have between all of us, and accepting our own culture or differences. I think that's what India is all about.
Exactly. Beautifully expressed, Dilip. Thank you for that. Well, So we can take away something from this and learn how to share, how to accept people, and this would create a positive environment. So for today's meeting, let's start with this positive note. And we have 3 segments for the meeting. The first one would be for prepared speech. The second one would be table topic round, which is impromptu speaking. So anybody who has the fear of public speaking, that is a very good chance to just explore in an impromptu way. And the third and the final and most important round is the evaluation round. After everything, we do need to learn how we have performed and take the feedback and grow in the next meeting. So for the evaluation round, our general evaluator. Now, this person is a software engineer by professional, and he works at a cloud computing company called Rackspace. The most interesting thing that this person has shared is he is not active in any social media account except for WhatsApp. I find that very inspiring. I feel because social media only creates walls or barriers, I would say. So that's really great. And I would also like to follow that. When I asked him about the theme, he said, building bridges among the same fraternity brings happiness, and building bridges among different fraternity will bring knowledge and happiness. So both knowledge and happiness are important, and we learn how easy it is to build a bridge and change the society. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Velapan Sujata, our general evaluator for the day. Oh, by the way, tomorrow is Vale's birthday also. Happy birthday to you in advance, Vale.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vedasta, for our birthday wishes and the wonderful introduction. Yeah, I am the general evaluator for today's session. So I will be evaluating overall how session goes, and I'll give my feedback at the end of the session. And to assist with me, we have a tag role players. The first tag role player I would like to call as grammarian. That is going to be played by Dilip. Dilip, could you please say the word of the day?
Yeah. First, I'll introduce my role. As a grammarian, I would be saying the good usage and not so good usage of the language, grammar, and also ensure or request people to use a word of the day, which is collaboration. And the meaning of the word collaboration is the act or process of working together or cooperating. So usage would be social media provide us the opportunity for real-time collaboration and dialogue. And personally, I don't know whether I can use this. Myself is the result of the collaboration between my parents. Over to you, G.
Yeah, thank you, grammarian Dilip. I encourage everyone to use the word for the day today during your whatever the chances you get. And the next tag roller is going to be played by Toastmaster Ankita. And today's the prepared speech time will be 5 to 7 minutes. So at the end of 5th minute, Ankita will display a green card in the inner background. And at the end of 6th minute, she will show amber. At the end of 7th minute, she will show a red card. And you have a grace period of 30 seconds. And for table topic speeches also, it repeats. We have a 1 to 2 minutes. At the end of first minute, green. 1 minute, 30 seconds, it is going to be amber. At the end of second minute, it will be red. And for evaluation session, we have another 2 to 3 minutes. At the end of 2 minute, green. 2 minute, 30 seconds, amber. At the end of third minute, it's a red. So I request all the speakers and evaluators while giving our speeches or any evaluation, just pin our timer so that you won't exceed the time limits. And the next role player is our counter, and that is going to be played by our President Mukund.
Thank you, Will. As an R counter, I will keep count of your R's, ums, filler words, pauses, etc. And at the end of the meeting, I will give my report to the general evaluator. Thank you. Back to you, Vail.
Thank you, Mohan. And the last role player it's a parliamentarian that is going to be played by Alam. Alam, could you want to?
Thank you, Will.
Yeah.
So as a parliamentarian, see, parliament, you would have seen raucous being created, but here we follow real parliamentary procedure. First thing is, please keep your mobile switched off. Keep your audio muted if you are not speaking. And if you can, please keep your video switched on. Okay. And refrain from topics like sex, politics, and religion. And as a listener, I would be asking 3 questions at the end of the meeting. And so just keep listening to all the speeches because I cannot give you chocolate, but yes, you will get clappings. Back to you.
Thank you, Alam. So yeah, that's it from our end. We will come at the evaluation session. Now over to you, Bethesda.
Thank you, Vail, and to your team.
Thank you.
Coming to the first segment, the prepared speech segment. Our first speaker of the day. Now, this speaker is one of the founding fathers of Smedley's. He is the DTM. He has been always one of the most inspiring leader. And when I asked him about today's theme, he said, life is all about people and making things work with people. Thus, it calls for building bridges. Though it is very difficult, but it is also very important. This speaker is giving his icebreaker speech for his new pathway, the visionary communication, and he will be evaluated by Shiva. Shiva, could you please share the evaluation guidelines?
Hi, good morning once again. So the evaluation and the purpose of this speech, this is an icebreaker speech, and the purpose of this speech is for the member to introduce himself to the club and also learn the structure of the public speaking. Over to you, Toastmasters of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shiva. The title of the speech is Where Do You Belong? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our very own DTM Francis Gama. Francis, the stage is all yours.
Can you hear me? Are you game for a game? I'm not joking. This game, which I'm going to play with you mentally, is called NEW. Sorry, I'm just putting my timer on. NEWS. Yes, it stands for North, East, West, and South. Each of these directions stand for groups of people who belong to styles called North, East, West, and South. They don't represent people from these locations like East India or Japan, but they are people who have a certain style of operation. Where do you belong? North, East, West, or South? Ma'am Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and friends of Toastmasters. Yes, I asked you, where do you belong? Let's figure out. North represents people who say, now or never, need it now. They're a bunch of go-getters who will not stop at anything, who will not leave any stone unturned. East represents a people who can envision and empower. They are a bunch of visionaries who can see far ahead and use their imagination to conquer the future. West represents people who always ask questions. Why, what, which, where, when, who, how. They are inquisitive and hence inquire and explore and find things out. South represents people who always share and support. There are a bunch of who are the Mahuna kind. I'm there now, always there for you. Where do you belong? North, who say now or never. East, who always envision and empower. West, who always ask questions why, what, which, where, when, who, and how. Or South, who share and support. I belong to the East, and I think envision and empower. As I explore myself and answer some questions, maybe you too can answer yourself the same questions in your own minds. First question, what are the strengths of your style? As a person of the East, someone who envisions and empowers, my strength is that I am a visionary. I use my imagination and can be pretty creative. Where there is no idea, my kind of people can bring idea. I most often think with the future in mind. I wonder what the strengths of your style are. Think about it. Second question, what are the weaknesses of our style? The weaknesses of my style, the West, as I envision and empower, are creativity or creation is something that is never ending. Ideas keep on coming and they never end. And before I can execute version 1, version 2 is already there and it pops up. And before I can execute that, version 3 comes up. We can be a cause for a lot of delays. Projects may not begin. If they do, we will soon come up with a revised version. Our vision and imagination or ideas may sound out of this world, utopian, impractical, and even impossible at times, most of the time. Third question, which style of people do you find the most difficult to work with? As a person from the East, I have an option of working with South, West, and North. Who do you find most difficult to work with? South? No way. We love them. They share and support. West? No. They feed our imagination. North? No way you can be wrong now. Collaborating with them is very challenging. Now or never, need it now. God, we hate people who hurry us. Those who hurry us simply worry us. Give us time and we will tell you how you can make things happen in a jiffy. We are like those techies in Bangalore who travel 90 minutes to work to build apps that can deliver groceries in 9 minutes. The Northers may be talented, but who cares? We work hard. And you have heard, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Lastly, friends, another question. What is special about your style? My style, what should people know about me to get the best out of me? Don't forget that I'm from the East. For me, well, if you want to get the best out of me, if you want something impeccable, trust me implicitly. To get the best out of me, leave me alone for some time. Persuasion helps, but persistence proves to be a pain in the neck. I may be slow, but I'm sure. I may deliver late, but it will be the latest. As I shared these details about my style, I hope you began to explore where you belong, your strengths, weaknesses, people you can't find difficult to work with, and your special traits. Now you know me a little more. I am from the East, not Japan or China, but from the people group called East. Ma'am Toastmaster.
Wow. What his speech, Francis, always keeps us all mesmerized. To answer to the questions that you have given us, I think we all need some time to figure it out where we actually belong. All right, going to the next speaker. Now, this speaker is a guest speaker. He is in college now. He has keen interest in sports and finance, both where I lack knowledge. So I wish you could impart some to me. He also loves cooking and loves to learn new skills. Wow, I wonder what are the new skills that you have learned? Do share. He is pursuing the project Motivational Strategy, and he will be delivering his speech of Level 3, Project 2, titled How Basketball Has Evolved in the 2010s. This speaker is evaluated by none other than our district Toastmaster, Nitasha. Nitasha, could you please share the project guidelines?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to present himself well in an interview. Please note, the time allocated is 5 to 7 minutes. All the very best for your interview. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, DJ Nitasha. So please welcome our guest speaker of the day, Sanskar. Sanskar, the floor is all yours now.
Good morning. Could you please spotlight me and Rohan Gore, the host of the meeting?
All right, are we good to go with the project? Just a confirmation from the speaker. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rohan Gore, and I will be interviewing Toastmaster Sanskar about the evolution and most important takes about the National Basketball Association during the 2010s. For my first question, how did the formation of the Miami Heat's Big Three impact the league? And what were the key moments of their journey?
In my opinion, I think it's integral to the history of the NBA in the last 10 years to note that the formation of the Miami Big Three and their collaborative effort to come together. LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade came together to form a super team in Miami. They went on to have a historic run where they made 4 straight NBA finals, winning 2 back-to-back titles, and only losing out on their three-peat because of a veteran Spurs team that had an aging Tim Duncan, who then went on to dominate the league. This Miami Heat team revolutionized the league. Firstly, because they brought on the super team legacy in the league. After them, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Golden State Warriors, the Chicago Bulls have all gone on to form super teams in the 2010s and proven themselves as contenders. But none have done it as well as the Miami Heat have.
So what I feel is Miami Heat and their Big Three, as you mentioned, they made it to 3 or 4 straight finals, and that is not a small feature. That is something really difficult to pull off, and hats off to them for being able to working so well together and going into the championship run. For my second question, how did the decision affect LeBron's legacy, and what were the implications for both the Heats and the Cavaliers?
This was possibly the most controversial moment in LeBron James' career. It was the end of the 2009 season, and his contract with the Cavaliers had expired, and he had to decide whether to stay with the team or to switch over to any other franchise. And LeBron decided that there was no better way to do this than to go on live television. This was done on a show called The Decision. It was 10 a.m. in the morning in the United States, and LeBron told the whole world that he was taking his talents down to South Beach, Miami. This sent trembles around the league. Firstly, because the Cavaliers for the next 4 years weren't even a playoff team and couldn't manage 40 wins in an 80-win season. On the other hand, there were the Miami Heat, who went on to cement their legacy as one of the greatest franchises in the NBA, making 4 straight finals, 2 finals, one back to back, with LeBron winning the finals MVP in each of those, and cementing the legacies of all the players on that squad.
In my opinion, although the decision might have been extremely controversial, maybe that was the best decision that he could take. We never know. If he would have stayed back at Cleveland Cavaliers, would his career have taken off as it had in the Miami Heats? Although many people do debate me, it's something I really believe that it was a good decision taken by him. For the next question, the Golden State Warriors' dominance in the latter half of the decade was unprecedented. What made their team so successful?
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Rohan, for that question. The Golden State Warriors' dominance was unprecedented for two simple reasons. They put together a team without having to spend massive amounts of money like teams in the past. All they did was draft players in back-to-back years that went on to become Hall of Fame players or have careers of that caliber. They drafted Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green in back-to-back drafts, and this went on to form the core of the Golden State Warriors dynasty that lasted for 8 years, winning 4 championships in 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2022. This team was incredibly talented with the way it was built. They revolutionized the game by including 3 point shooting, off the ball movement, understanding floor spacing, and playing without a big man taller than 7 feet tall. And today, the league has changed their entire game plan to what the Golden State Warriors did before anyone else could understand the game. And that is why the dominance was unprecedented.
Really, hats off to the Golden State Warriors. They did not take any names that were really popular. They took people that had skill. They understood how their opposition is playing and found a way around it, found a strategy around it. I feel this is also very important to why they were one of the most unbeatable teams in the season, and still their legacy is continuing to grow. Now, for my next question, who were some notable international players who left a lasting impact on the league during this decade?
Well, to be honest, basketball or the NBA wasn't a very global game till the 2000s or the 2010s. And that was because of a player called Dirk Nowitzki, a German sharpshooter who was 6 feet 11. And he changed the way people perceive international players in the NBA. As time progressed, the influence of international players grew more and more. In the latter half of the 2010s, players like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid went on to win MVPs, none of them being from the United States. Giannis is Greek, Nikola Jokic is Serbian, and Joel Embiid is Cameroonian. This showed how global the game had become, and it hasn't stopped there yet. In the coming years, I am sure that players like Victor Wembanyama from France and Luka Doncic from Slovenia will go on to become league MVPs and dominate the league for the coming years.
Really well said, or a really great answer for this question. In inclusion to what you said, I feel like bringing international players who are not drafted from the American Football Association, it brings a sort of cultural inclusion. It brings a different thought process. It brings up a different mindset for the game, a different sort of strategy that's been included in the games played outside of America. And when you bring this together, it really makes the game a more wholesome place, a more international level game. Now we'll be moving ahead to our final question. So, Toastmaster Sanskar, your final question is, can you discuss the significance of the 2016 championship for LeBron's legacy and the impact it had on the Golden State Warriors?
Uh, the legacy of LeBron James was cemented due to the 2016 championship, with his team coming back from a 3-1 deficit at the NBA Finals. And this put a blotch on the 2016 Warriors, who had won 73 games in the regular season but couldn't manage to win the ring. And that is why it really cemented LeBron's legacy while tainting the Golden State Warriors.
What I feel is, in the first place, now there's two sides to a coin, right? It's really difficult getting to a 3-1 lead in an NBA Finals. Hats off to that. But the team who did not lose their mind, who had the determination to give a comeback and win from a 3-1 deficit, it's really something very impressive, and I would really like to commend that. With this, we come to the end of the questions and the interview, for that matter of fact. Thank you, Toastmaster Sanskar, for those insightful takes about the NBA and how it has changed over the last decade in the playing fields of player empowerment, team formation, and play style. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow, that was some deep analysis, and we did get some further insight about NBA basketball and LeBron's legacy. I believe this is my first time that I have learned so much from you guys. Thank you for that insightful session. Coming to the third and the final speaker of the day. Now, this speaker is also a student who is pursuing BBA. His interests are in football, in Formula One, and TV shows. He also said that anybody who would like to get some deep analysis about football can get in touch with him. Where I asked him about the theme of the day, building bridge, he says building bridges in the literal sense means development to create the path, and in the metaphorical sense, it means to reflect on the bridges, to reflect the path you construct to form the bridges. So a path of success or experience to lead to a path is essential for also character development of a person. The speaker would be pursuing the same project, more motivational strategy, level 3, and I would also like to welcome the evaluator for the speaker, our another inspiring leader, Toastmaster Arun. Arun, please share the evaluation guidelines.
Yeah, thank you, Vidasta. The speaker is attempting a level 3 project 2 from motivational strategy, which is connect with storytelling. The objective or the purpose is to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech which is a story. So best of luck to the speaker. Back to you, Vidasta. And the duration is 5 to 7 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome speaker number 3, Vardhan.
Am I audible? First of all, okay. So before I start off my speech, I would like to ask: are there any football fans here, just by a raise of hands or something? A few fans are there. Okay, a few fans here and there. So today I stand here before you to share you a very remarkable story of a man who has left an scarred mark on the world of football. A lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him, but he's always made sure that he's undeniably one of the best football managers in the world. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho, let's say, is one of the greatest football managers in the history of football. A lot of people who watch football, any sport as matter, is the fact that they like a certain team. If you watch the IPL, you like RCB because it's in your city. You like Delhi because they're in their city as well. Or you have some connection with the players. But I don't like a certain player or football team. I like this 61-year-old man who is managing teams around the world. This person is Jose Mourinho. Born on January 26, 1963, his journey to become a manager was very different. He was born for failure, is what a lot of people would have thought when he started footballing, as he couldn't match the legacy of his father and play professional football, as he realized that he wasn't as good at it. But what he did discover was that he could be still at the top stage of football without being a player, but in fact, actually being a manager. So what he did was started becoming a translator for all these legendary managers in the world. Back in 2000, he became a protege, but not in the form of an assistant manager, but in the form of a protege and a translator, actually, for legends like Sir Bobby and Louis Van Gaal. He did this in order to just make sure that he could translate the message of the coach to the players and from the press conference to the coach. That's all his job was. But in years of development, in 3 years, he had mastered the tactics of football and made sure that he impressed his bosses with this. But his real stump came in 2003, where he became the manager of a Portuguese football club named Porto, where in the first season itself, He had won one of the huge accolades of football, winning the domestic league, all the domestic titles, a domestic treble, in fact. And not just that, he wouldn't stop there. He went on to winning the Europa League as well, which is something considered as a massive achievement for a team that is in Portugal, because it doesn't come under the top 5 leagues in the world. So basically, it's like achieving the World Cup in a very small team. It could be equivalent of that. And apart from that, he just didn't stop there. He wasn't just an excellent manager or anything as such. He was called the special one. And there is that for a reason. Even though everyone thought Porto had reached their potential in 2003, in 2004, he went to do something that was impossible. He won the biggest prize of club football of all time, which is the UEFA Champions League, with the club Porto. I mean, if you ask anyone if you can win a Champions League with Porto, everyone would say no, not at all. There is not a single scenario where anyone could say, yes, definitely I would win a Champions League with Porto. But Mourinho did that. And that's when he put a stamp in the world and said, yes, I am the greatest manager of all time. But he wasn't recognized as much because he was just managing a club in a club which was not recognized much by the world. He had to move on. He had to move on to show what his ego was and to show that he was one of the greatest managers of all time. So he went on to the biggest league in the world, the English Premier League, the most recognizable league in the world, the league which everyone watches every weekend from August till March, where there's non-stop football every weekend and week out with the most competitive players on the planet. He went there to take over this club named Chelsea, one of arguably the best club in London in its history, in its recent history. And that's all thanks to Jose Mourinho. He was so dedicated to the club. He made sure what his vision was to the club and made sure his tactics were such that people hated. In football, what do you expect from people? You want people to score goals, right? Yes, I scored 3 goals, you scored 2 goals, so I win. But Mourinho wasn't something like that. He would make sure that his team had the best defense of all time. People to this day call his tactics anti-football. They accuse him of causing things in football which aren't supposed to happen. The kind of football which people hate to watch, but his tactics were so strong, where he made sure his defense never conceded a goal or anything as such. In the season of 2004-2005, he had made sure Chelsea, the club, conceded only 15 goals in a season of 38 games. Let's say you concede 38 goals and put that in perspective. In a whole season, he conceded lesser than half, which is 15, which is a record which still hasn't been broken to this very day. He went on further from Chelsea, though. He has had his career where he's moved on from clubs 3 years by 3 years into different clubs to make sure he leaves a mark in every continent or every country he coaches in. Chelsea, Inter Milan, where he won Inter's first treble for them, winning the Champions League, the domestic league, and the League Cup as well. He went on to Real Madrid, where he showed Barcelona, where he ignited the world popular rivalry between Ronaldo and Messi. Him and Pep Guardiola started that. He went on to coaching and coming back to Chelsea to again lift the Champions League with them. And again after that, that didn't just stop him. He went on and managed different clubs in the world, managing Manchester United, where he made sure he got them their first European trophy after a decade or something, which is not just a phrase everyone says, because at a point people had forgotten when United got in their last championship. And that's why people used to refer to the word something, where everyone thought they had lost hopes in this club. And he came back and he made sure that they won a European trophy. And then he had been removed from that club as well because of his controversies. Once at a time, he was banned for a match because he said something very controversial in a press conference. And for that, he had been banned for the next match. But it was a very important match for his team. The UEFA authorities, they searched throughout the whole stadium just to see if he was still in the stadium and they could find him. But this man, the smartest man in football, hid in a laundry basket the entire game just to meet his players for 15 minutes during the halftime and give them tactics on how to win the game. And they did end up winning the game indeed. And right now, he's also made sure that he continues his legacy, where everyone thinks a 61-year-old man is done in his life and cannot achieve anything. Just last year, He won the Europa Conference League, becoming the first and only manager to win the European treble, which includes the Conference League, the Europa League, and the Champions League. I don't know if people hate him for his tactics or love him for his tactics, but he is someone who undeniably comes into the topic of the greatest managers of all time in the world of football. Thank you.
That was an amazing speech. When you first started speaking about football, I thought you would share some success story of a player, but you brought out a very important aspect, that is coaching or mentoring. And like you said, at 60, he has achieved conference as well as Europa, as well as champions. I think that is really a very inspirational story or inspirational fact that we can all take from and learn from you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So here we end the prepared speech segment. And now the second segment of the meeting, where you get the jitters and butterflies in your stomach, but you also get to be confident and good at impromptu speaking. Like many of you have said earlier, if you have to share a punchline for a date or to your manager, this would be the learning session for you. So for our table topic session, today we have a table topic master who works at Accenture. He had also been a past president of the Smedleys, and he likes badminton, another sports person. He also loves to read fictional and non-fictional books. When I asked him about today's theme, he said, "Love is the only rebel against hate which can make the world a better place. And love means building the bridges, removing all the gaps, the walls, and thus break the wall of negativity." Please welcome our table topic master for today's meeting, Toastmaster Istiaq Alam.
Thank you, Bitashta. So a little bit more on the theme of the day. So I really believe that even if people say that we have been living in glorious past, actually it was not so glorious. Everything was barbaric. If you read a book by Steven Pinker, you will get to understand where we were and where we are. So actually we are rebelling against our animal instinct all the time. Hate comes naturally to the people. Tribalism comes naturally to the people. You see that we have taken from all the primates. One chimp tribe goes to another chimp, there would be a war. That is the way we have grown and developed. But we are not trying to break away from all those things. We are collaborating with the people and we are understanding. But that is coming back to again. And sometimes it feels like there is setback. We are being more hateful, but it is not going to be. And I'm very, very hopeful that over the period of time, we are going to have humanity as the center of everything what we do. Okay, now after this take on theme of the day, this is one of the most exciting session for the people who would like to really, when they are in some surprising situation and they have to speak, they can develop here. So you don't have to bother about whether you are fumbling or making mistakes. You just have to attempt. Attempting is 90% and rest is 10%. That is for me. Okay, so what are the things that it is just for 1 minute, 1 to 2 minutes. You will have to speak minimum of 1 minute, and maximum is 2 minutes, and you can have 30 seconds of grace period. Topic is going to be around building bridges and collaboration. Okay, and it is going to be very easy. So I see there are many speakers today, so I would be giving it to the people who have not spoken, and then rule takers and probably speakers also. Let's see how many topics I can take. So let me start with, okay, the first topic is just a quote by Henry Ford. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. I'll repeat again. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. And it goes to Chetan is in front of me if I see in this screen. So Chetan, for you.
Thanks, Alam. So, good morning, everyone. I think there were some fantastic speeches today. I thoroughly enjoyed them. So, as I come back to the topic that has been given to me on building bridges and coming together and making progress, uh, uh, I also look at it, I'll give you a different perspective for you to ponder upon. Generally, whenever we think about coming together and making progress, we also think about the thing that naturally comes to our minds is speaking, collaborating, explaining ourselves, trying to understand what the other person is trying to say. And there is an anecdote that is from the World War when the Henry Kissinger was sent a report by one of his generals about the war. And when he received the report, he sent it back to the general, writing on it, "Is this the best you can do?" The general read the report, he updated it and resent it. Again came back the curt response saying, "Is this the best you can do?" The general this time again went back to the war scene, updated it, edited it, finished it thoroughly, and resent it. Again, Mr. Kissinger sent back the same reply, "Is this the best you can do?" And this time the general was very pissed off. He finally replied, "Yes, this is the best I can do." And Mr. Kissinger wrote back, "Okay, I'll read it this time." So even without saying much, he got the best view of what's happening in the war from the general, rather than trying to explain and rather than trying to ask many questions. So that's my take on coming together and making progress. Yeah, you can achieve it through different ways and means. Thank you. Back to you, Alan.
Thank you, Chetan. Actually, this is what I have been experiencing for a long time. So whenever I would prepare presentation for my um, superiors, every time, whatever I would do, there would be at least 10 feedbacks. And that is what I learned over the period of time, that if you are a superior to someone, it is your duty to give feedback, even if there is no scope for feedback. So something like that, probably that is a kind of leadership style which people follow. So thank you, Chetan. So next topic is, let me see. Okay, so let me read a topic. Arun is also one evaluator, right? So I would be giving it to Devika, you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's a very easy topic for you. Teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah, please try on this.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. So the topic is teamwork makes the dream work. So we have to be unite in a team so that we can work together. When there is a teamwork, we get success. Um,
Your 1 minute is still not over, Devika. You can keep continuing on this.
Yes, sir. So we have to be unite and till we get success, we have to work. When we get success, we'll be happy.
Yes, great. Thank you, Devika. So 90% marks is for this effort only. So, and I would suggest that you should be coming on video when you are speaking, and everybody has this phase in the journey of Toastmasters. So it is a great leap. So thank you. Thank you for speaking on this topic. So next, I see all the rule takers only now. So I'll be picking rule takers. So next topic is teamwork is important. It helps to blame someone else. Well.
Okay, I think right topic, I believe. But what happens is I will be always the receiving end. So whenever something goes wrong in the project, people will be kind of an how I can recollect is we kind of a database operations team and sysadmins team, many team we collaboratively work and deliver some kind of project. So when most of the times when we face a customer and if something goes wrong, other all team work and if there is any slowness in the application or whatever, they will direct to this our database team. Something like it is going to be caused by a database issue and that could be taken care by that person. And unfortunately, on that seat, I will be there. So many times it happens, but slowly, because of them, I learned something like if there is some problem comes, we need to take an ownership to solve it than pointing to someone else to get it solved. So slowly we learned that. So I personally learned it, accept the mistakes, and if it was pointed towards it and work towards it, and try to be friendly with them if they are opponent or they were trying to blame a game or whatever it may be. Finally, another important point is data. Data speaks for every kind of issues to get come out of any kind of a problem. So that is what my take. Over to you, Anna.
Yeah, thank you. Well, nice take on this. So I have seen that the most important thing in teamwork is that you should be sure, even if other person can work or they cannot work, but you should be clear of all the controversy. So that is why I have seen managers getting like hours and hours of their resources trying to understand the project so that they can explain it to their superior, and they would be working probably slogging on later hours of the day. So this is how it generally, I have seen people doing that also because we are answerable to higher leadership. Okay, so the next topic is same topic, but with a twist. Another topic which I have already given with a twist. Teamwork makes the dream work, but it also makes the coffee break longer. Dilip.
Yeah. So you're actually asking to recollect my maybe Accenture days. Very much I can recollect. So the teamwork makes the dreams work. Absolutely, the first part is absolutely true. So I had an experience where I have given a very junior team. Rather, I had taken up a team. Somebody gone out and taken up, and there was no resources, and we taken a totally freshers, and they have no clue what to do and how to do. So only thing I can do is encourage them, empower them to do things, which I did. And the first thing I did is to rename the team when you have a group, as an email group, I said it's possible. So we have to deliver something as 20 days work, and we already lost 17 days. In the 3 days we did it. So that was a big success in terms of when I say that teamwork makes a dream work. That was a dream to deliver it, and we did it. And definitely, once you have that, and we had setting the habit of getting into this coming late, I would say that people go late and come back late in the next morning. And typically, we go for first a coffee break. By the time it is lunch, and people really start their work by 2:30. And naturally, the day goes up to 12:30 in the night. Again, the cycle repeats. So what I would say is, whenever you have a success, you have to learn from that and apply the right learnings. It is not that hard work always wins, but you have to do a smart work. Also ensure you have a work-life balance, and you can make your dreams work with hard work, but at the same time, reduce those coffee breaks or give a better life back to your team members so that you can run long. That's my take.
Yeah, thank you, Dilip. Good take on this topic. So now we have been working for longer hours before, right? And now we had this work from home and all. Whenever now I go to office, I try reaching there by 8 o'clock. By the time 8:39, everybody start coming. And then after that, it is like coffee break, snacks break, talking. And by the time I return, which I do around 3 o'clock, I get back home because I just don't want to get into traffic. I would achieve very little. And whenever I'm at home, I start again same time, 8 o'clock, 8:30. By the time it is 1 o'clock, most of the work will be done. Only meetings and all the things would remain. So that is what we have seen, that, okay, teamwork, it's okay. That is why maybe I had to stay longer before, because I had to go for coffee break and all those longer lunch break and all those kind of things. Okay, the next topic is collaboration is like a potluck lunch. You hope for pizza, but you end up with 3 different kind of potato salad. Ankita. Should I repeat again?
Yes, one more time.
Yeah. So collaboration is like a potluck lunch. You hope for pizza or delicious things, but you end up with 3 different kind of potato salad.
Okay. Thank you, Alam. What I take from this topic is that when you have a collaboration, it should be thought out and should be planned. If you just say, come on, team, let's do this, people will do whatever they want and then come back with whatever they feel is right, but might not be achieving the whole point of setting up that task. So what we have to understand is when someone is trying to lead a team or trying to make things happen, coming up with a plan, coming up with steps or some sort of guidelines is very, very important. Otherwise we are all otherwise the team is just running around like headless chickens. That's how your your end goal will never be achieved. I hope someone is timing me. I forgot to press start on my timer.
Okay, I think you have already crossed 1 minute, and not 2 minutes for sure. So
sure,
thank you.
Sure. So all in all, what I would like to say is, if you like potato salads, then fine. But if you want to have a mix of all the delicious desserts or foods from different parts of cultures, then you have to plan it out and have a delicious feast. Over to you, Anu.
Yeah, thank you, Ankita. So it is like a very serious manager giving good, solid knowledge about what. No funny take. It is serious, and I have seen that Ankita, after being VP, how seriously she has been talking to the people, and this is really great. So yes, we should be knowing what we really want. Otherwise, everyone would be doing the same thing, and at the end of the day, we would be leaving many important things aside. So That is really important. So now just a time check. How many topics I can give?
Think we can close?
We can close for now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all. This was really great. And I think that everybody really tried their best on each of the topics. Thank you. Back to you, Vitashta.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alam. Those were indeed very interesting topics. Just with the theme, you came up with different versions, and especially the teamwork and the twist was really interesting. So thank you, all the speakers and Toastmaster, our table topic master. Before we move on to the most important round, which is the evaluation and feedback round, I wanted to share an interesting story, which many of you might be aware, which also comes to the theme of today. You might be aware of the famous true story during Christmas in 1914, World War I. So at that time, the German and the British soldiers, they started singing Christmas carols and patriotic songs on the night of Christmas Eve from the opposite trenches. And the next morning, they came out, they exchanged gifts, they shared food, they helped bury some bodies. And this is how during a war such as World War I, they started sharing and creating their happy moments together. It was only the officers who were not happy about this truce, and the High Command made sure that such scale truce can be prevented in the future. So it only shows it is the interests of certain powerful people for their personal gain and interest that they prevent such kind of happiness, such kind of breaking of bridges for their own power and growth, because they want to keep that fighting spirit, which would actually just benefit them only. So let's not feed into them. Let us understand what is right. Let us always have our own feelings, our own values before and higher than anything else, and keep inspiring breaking of blocks, walls, and build bridge to welcome and connect with different people. Our general evaluator, Velapan, I would like to welcome you, and please share the feedback for today's meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vitashta. Thank you. There was an overall and wonderful session. So first I start with an Sergeant at Arms evaluation before going to the speaker evaluation, passing to the speech evaluators. Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Ankita, you made ensure that we started the meeting on time. I think you gathered everyone and made ensure that we are on time. That is the thing. We were lagging for so long time, and now we were back on to start our meeting on time. You spoke about the theme, about today's theme and its details, and very interestingly, you connected everything. You didn't forget to tell all the rules that needs to be followed throughout the meeting. Both are I liked whatever you mentioned. It needs to be taken in very serious note before starting any kind of meeting. And you introduced the president as well. But one suggestion is I know it is a challenge to know more about president, to introduce president in a different way in each and every meeting, but still something will be left out to have an. So we all know he's a when somebody wake me from sleep and ask what is who is Mukund and where he is working, what is his profession, I know the complete details, but still we need to get some other informations to introduce him, which other people doesn't know about him. That's a small suggestion from me on that. Rest all very good. Let's give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Ankita. The next role, the presiding officer, Mukund Joshi, and you spoke about the theme we know how you will spill the humor in our speech while introducing the speaker or about speaking about the team. You did a wonderful job today. You didn't miss even any guest to introduce them and to speak about the theme on the topic. That was well done, Mukund. As usual, one thing that I noted is you forgot to start the meeting. So a rest all good, a good job, and give one big round of applause to Mukund as well. Then next, before I go to Toastmaster Bitasta for Toastmaster to evaluate on TA module role, I would like the speech evaluation to be done first. So first, I would like to call Toastmaster Shiva to evaluate Francis.
Hi. This was a icebreaker speak, and the purpose of this speak, as I had told, it was to introduce about the speaker. So one thing, what an amazing speak! It was treat for each one of us, and it was a learning session. In fact, I can say for each one of us, directly coming from a person who's already completed his pathway twice, and he's now taken up two pathways simultaneously, and this is icebreaker of one of such speeches. So absolutely stunning. He has left no stones unturned. Right from the go, he dissolved all the thoughts that we had in our mind. Like while I had studied in my school, when I look at the map, the right portion is east, the left portion is west, the upper portion is north, and the downside is the south. But he dissolved everything. He introduced a whole new definition of north, east, west, and south. And trust me, he is like building bridges with a thought process of the mind, like how a person is. And he belongs to this region, that is east. And he himself told that he's from east and what all the traits that he has got in himself. So he's giving away his traits to everyone so that others can understand and collaborate with him for a journey ahead. So what a way of speech it is, and what a whole new definition to the northeast, west, south that we always had. So I can hardly pick any points that I could give as an advice. But if I may, from my understanding, one thing what I felt would have made more appropriate, since it is an icebreaker speak, I think a person introducing himself, his name, was something that I couldn't register in the entire speech. So I think that was something which had missed, or he had the entire story or the entire book was revealed except for the author's name. So that one thing I felt was missing, that was the author's name, or the clarity, the vocal variety, gestures, comfort level, interest level, everything was apt. And I can say this could be one of the ideal speech for others to learn from. Over to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiva. That was a wonderful evaluation. See, when we see some people, some positive people, their positivity will stick to us. And Francis is one such person with lots of positive things with him. So today, that too, he came in a formal and delivered a speech. Lots of very interesting things he conveyed. What I liked him is he told he revealed what was his style and how he do it without explaining it. Kind of indirectly, he passed a message that whether he is from north or south or east or west. It was a very interesting to listen to Francis' speech. And the next evaluator I would like to call is, just a moment. Yeah, none other than our DTM Toastmaster Natasha to evaluate Sanskar and Rogan.
Thank you, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Vale. And hi, Sanskar, and hello to your interviewer, Toastmaster Rohan. I believe my job is only to evaluate Sanskar. So, Sanskar, you have great confidence, great poise, great clarity, very good choice of words, extremely well versed with your subject. So, kudos to you on being extremely well prepared for this interview session. Your confidence came through in your body posture, it came through in your delivery of your answers, and the way you handled the information that you already had. However, I did have a few suggestions, a few takeaways myself. I did, of course, enhance my own knowledge of the subject of basketball. But what I would have liked in a topic like this or in a project like this is setting of the context. What was this interview about? Are you applying for a job? Are you a person with extreme knowledge? Are you a sports person and you are being interviewed and you're just sharing your thoughts? So I had no idea about the context of the interview, which made it a little difficult for me to really understand what is your position. Because if you were applying for a job, then I would have a different perspective on the way you answered. But if you are an authority in the subject, you know what I mean? So setting of the context is very important, especially when you're presenting it as a project. And if you don't want to do it, then you could have asked the TMOD to explain the context that here is this person so your evaluator is a little better prepared. Now, with that in mind, I'm assuming that you're an authority on this subject, okay? So I thought that the answers were very well rehearsed. One of the requirements of this project is to also evaluate how you come across as an impromptu speaker, because you're not aware of what are the questions that are being asked you in an interview session. Here it seemed more like a question answer session rather than an interview session. The third thing that I want to say is, irrespective of whether you're a celebrity or someone with the knowledge or you're applying for a job, when a question is posed to you, take a moment to acknowledge the question and bring in a little more personal touch. It was like the question came and bang, this is my answer. Like uh, first, most importantly, you did not even acknowledge the interviewer in the first part. You didn't even start off by saying hello, thank you, good morning, great for this, thank you for this opportunity, etc. So I think a little more personal touch is important when you're being interviewed. So I just work on those little aspects of bringing in your personality, set the context, keep up your confidence, keep up your poise, great clarity, and wish you all the very best for any interviews that you are going to take in the future. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Yeah, thank you, Natasha. That was a very detailed evaluation. I think definitely Sanskar would have got lots of information on this evaluation. In general, schools and interviews will always make a butterflies to me. But today, as soon as it was kind of an interview, I felt something kind of an odd. But the session, the session, how we Sanskar and take it up, it went very nice. It create kind of a confidence that if anybody want to attend the interview in coming weeks with evaluators' feedback, I think they can perform better. Next, I would like to call the third evaluator for Vardhan's speech, Arun Kota, Toastmaster Arun Kota.
Yeah, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone, and Vardhan in particular. So the objective of today's speech, or what Vardhan was attempting on, was to have a story in his speech, or entire speech as a story. I think that has been achieved. You had a story which you talked about who your favorite footballer or the coach or the manager is, and you had the structure very well done. You introduced why a manager and not a player, and then you went on giving up various instances of the achievements Jose had in his lifespan, and towards the end you brought in he's still in the game and not out of the game. So you went through that structure, and the way you interpreted it, the way you presented it was also done very confidently, and also you had the right pause during your speech. That was done perfectly well. But I want to go with a few of the refinements or opportunities of improvement, which I think could be done here. First thing is, when you started your speech, you said, before I start, let me ask who likes football or something like that. I think that can be completely avoided. You can have it as part of your speech where you can say who is interested in football, so that you can also engage the audience as part when you're starting your speech and take it along, rather than saying that out before I start. Second thing, which what I would like to also bring in, is when you talk about why you chose a manager, Jose, and not any of the prominent football player. What was your mindset? Why did you choose Jose Mourinho as the role model? What is the specific thing which makes him unique? Why you're bringing his story today? So that was completely missing out. The next thing what I saw when you went through the body is, it is just like a resume. You went through his achievements one after the other. But when you're telling a story, there are always the low points and the high points of a character. And when they're in a low point, what made him, like if he was a coach, what made him an extraordinary coach? What did he do differently than other coaches? When he took the team, which is an underdog, but he made it win different competitions? What tactics did he use which was different? You told he was using like unconventional, which was called in the football fraternity, but what was those? Why was it not done by others? What made him unique, and how did he change the ball game? So those aspects, because it's a motivational pathway you have chosen, and that exactly you should highlight in your speech. When there was a low point, our character had a low point, what made him, what was the next step he took? So that would have given an extra motivation and also highlight the character. Third thing is the ending. When you said, he's still 61 years old and he's winning Europa or all those leagues, but what else? What makes him unique? I think these are the things which are missing and which could be incorporated. It would be a perfect story and highlight the character and bring in that motivation. Overall, a good speech. Thanks, Vardhan. Back to you, General Valley.
Thank you, Arun. That was a wonderful and detailed evaluation. We saw Jose Mourinho in you. You gave all kind of information to him. And Vardhan, once while your speech, we came to know how much you loved that player and got all the detailed information about him. That was a wonderful speech. And after our speech, I started Googling to get more information about that player, that manager. And before I go to the next segment to evaluate, I would like to call our timer Ankita to just give a report, because she needs to leave a bit early. Can I call? Yeah, Ankita, please share the time.
Thank you very much, Vale.
Yeah.
We've actually been quite, we've used a lot of time, is what I would like to say. Pretty much like starting off with the presiding officer, he was on time. After that, I think where everyone started to lose track of time. The TMOD allotted time at the beginning of the session is about 8 minutes, but that went on to almost 15 minutes. So time is not just for the speakers, like the prepared speakers or the table topic speakers or evaluators. It's everyone who is there in the room and speaking, to be mindful of how much time they take. Having said that, every speaker sadly went over time, even the 30 seconds of grace period. Francis took 6 minutes 45 seconds. Sanskar took 7 minutes 40 seconds, and Vardhan took 7 minutes 35 seconds. I just want to ask like the senior members, does this mean that they have to repeat their project, or is it fine? It's
no, okay. They just take it as a feedback.
Okay, cool. And coming to evaluators.
What about polls? Sorry, are they qualified?
They probably are not qualified for the polls. But that is again a club thing. For their personal development, they don't necessarily have to repeat the project. If they would like to, incorporating it as a feedback, then they can choose to do so.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that. Coming to the evaluators, Shiva took 2 minutes 54 seconds. Natasha was on dot on 3 minutes 30 seconds. Arun took 3 minutes 16 seconds. So all the evaluators are still within the time. And coming to the table topic speakers, everyone spoke for more than a minute and a half and no disqualifications there. And that is my report. Over to you, Vale.
Thank you. Thank you for it. Okay, so no Excel today. Nice. Okay, and now I would like to give I would like to evaluate, give my feedback on table topic master Alam. What a nice topics. All the topics are very interesting and easy to catch in our life, what was happening in and around, and so easily able to connect it and able to speak it. So you gave, just a moment, I noted a few points. Yeah, you spoke about the theme and thought for the day also. Normally the table topic master won't do that, but you did it. So that as you started with that, people in the floor got an easy feeling that it won't be kind of a butterfly session, kind of an easy go session. So you set that floor in such a way, and you spoke for some time and gave the